Today I'm going to show you how to implement a new feature in the Bolt to GitHub Chrome extension using Windsurf AI. We'll be adding branch selection capability, which allows users to import specific branches from their GitHub repositories into bolt.new. This video walks through my complete development workflow, from analyzing the GitHub issue to implementing the solution, testing it thoroughly, and closing the issue. You'll see how AI tools can help tackle real feature requests in existing code bases, handle unexpected bugs, and maintain code quality with proper testing. I've actually done some significant refactoring of this code base to prepare for this feature, which I'll share in a separate video coming soon. But for now, let's focus on the implementation process itself and see how Windsurf helps us build this new feature efficiently. Let's dive in! And now I'll go back to Windsurf. We're in a much better position to implement the solution for the original issue. Prior to the initial refactoring, I have saved an implementation plan created by GitHub Copilot. I have stashed it, and now let's refer to it. This will help us with the implementation. But I'm wondering if this is now outdated. I can see there's this add branch API to GitHub service.ts, but branches is part of the repository service now, so it's not updated anymore. It also references the old base GitHub service that we don't want to use anymore. So I guess before we do anything, we need to clean up everything first. We need to remove legacy code. To do that, let me go to the base GitHub service. Let's check for file references. We can see that it's being referenced by this file. But if we open that file and check for file references, it's not being used anymore. So we can remove them both. We're not afraid of removing files because we have everything in Git or GitHub. We can always refer to it using the Git history. Removing unused files is a good practice because it helps avoid confusion for both humans and AI tools. I will generate a commit message using cursor. Okay, that's a nice description. Push. And then here, I'm going to use Windsurf. Let me check if we have the MCP servers. We do. And now I will ask it to use GitHub MCP Server. Get the details of issue number 34. Analyze the issue against the code base, the current code base. Think hard of the implementation plan for the solution, and then implement the changes. Right, let's see. So finally, we are down to implementing the solution for issue number 34. I don't know what's taking so long. I hope everything's good. Oh, I guess I paused Docker. So let me resume it. Yeah, there you go. It's my fault. So it's now analyzing the issue, examining the related files to be updated. It's understanding the latest GitHub service now. Now it was able to get the repository service and is examining the repository service. We will ask it to update the unit test as well. I realized that the repository service is also more than 500 lines, maybe because of the documentation here, but still, this is huge. The rate limit handler is here. I don't like that. We will move it out later. But the good thing is the repository service class at least has a single responsibility. We can refine this more later on. I'm surprised that we just transferred the bulk of the code here. But as I mentioned, this is much better than before because we have good documentation. We're following the single responsibility principle. All of the code here is related to repositories. You can see here, repo empty, initialize empty repo, push file. Push file might not need to be here because it's part of the file service. There's some kind of overlap. I guess if we go to the iRepository service, yeah, we can improve more upon this. So branches, okay, that's a good addition. I see iRepository service. We do have that here. Nice. And temp repo manager, we now have a branch parameter or argument. Let's explore the changes, review them quickly. But somehow Windsurf stopped. This always happens. So let me just say continue. Temp repo manager is using GitHub service. It thought the list branches is still there. No, it should not be there. I hope it won't create a duplicate of that method there. Okay, so it added it like that. Good. I thought it would add another version of it, so Windsurf is smart enough to use the existing repository service. Branches to use should not be main anymore. Okay, so it falls back to main if it's not provided. That's good. Alright, looks good. Now it's creating the branch selection model component. Now it's creating the branch selection model component. Now it's editing the background service, which I think is a bit large also. Good thing it's not editing that much. It's just around 372 lines. Now it's analyzing the project list component because that's where the actual selection is. Yes? If we take a look at the settings, this is the project list and it should update this portion of the code. So if I click on this, then I should be able to see the branch selection component. The project list is also quite huge. We need to refactor this later as well. So the tendency of AI dev tools when the files are huge is that they will fail updating it naturally. They will try different approaches to do the update until they deviate from the original objective. Let me accept the changes. There are no type issues as you can see here, except for this show. So that's what it's fixing right now. Let's see. The repo settings show is false, on save, on cancel. Why did it remove that? I don't know. Maybe because it's not used? Windsurf did some changes here that I'm not really comfortable with. Let's take a look at what it did. It created an event dispatcher. It removed this. Okay, let me accept. I reviewed that already. Repo owner, GitHub token. Okay, so it just added a show prop. It removed this in lieu of dispatching an event, so it removed the handle save. If dispatch is the close, I don't like this alert. And we have the show here. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's run the build to test it out. I don't like the alert addition there, so I will tag this as a to-do. Let's refresh just to make sure everything still works. GitHub settings. Okay, projects. Import. Okay, there you go. Select branch to import. So here's what I'm going to do to test this. I will change the settings. Oh no, it's not working anymore. That's the problem. It changed our existing implementation. Let me change the repo settings via this screen. Let's create a dev branch. Usually when I click this, it should open the repo settings. We will fix that later. Let's try this for now. Looks like dev branch is not there yet. Let me refresh the branches. Still nothing. Let me close it. Refresh it, maybe. Let me close this. Oh yeah, because the dev branch doesn't exist in GitHub yet, so we have to push it first. If we take a look at the list of branches here, yes, it only has one. And now it should have a dev branch. Alright, so now let's go to our project list and then try to import this. There you go, we have a dev branch. To prove that bolt.new is loading the correct branch, let's make a very visible change by changing the color of the heading. Okay, so let's just ask Bolt to change the color of the header to something engaging or eye-catching. Let's try that prompt, and then we will push this to the dev branch. Then we will try to import this back to Bolt. Alright, that's good enough. Let me push it to GitHub. We can see the branch changed here. Let's add a commit message. Alright, so let's see. Let's go to the dev branch. And we should have a commit just now, which is change the color of the header. Nice. And now we can try to import the dev branch. Oh, we encountered an error. Branch dev not found. I know what's happening. because it's trying to import the dev branch from temp repo. Yep, so there's no dev branch there. Okay, so we will tell Windsurf to fix that issue. Let's say the code works halfway there, but when it's time to import the temporary public repository, there's no custom branch there yet aside from the default main branch. So import from the temporary public repository from the main branch always, not from the dev branch selected when importing. Let me stage all these changes before doing anything else. I understand the issue. The branch selection is working, but the temporary repository is still only being created with the main branch, not the selected branch. The issue is, okay, that's not what I meant. Yes, it's okay. This is not written in stone. We can name it however we want, so it's okay. The main branch or the name main is not actually a requirement. It can be anything. Okay, so let me just build this and then we'll go back and ask Windsurf to restore the changes it did here in repo settings. Let's check where the repo settings is being used. We can see that it is being used in two places here. So Windsurf missed updating the project status. That's why we have that click bug earlier. As you can see here, we have red squiggly on save. We will ask Windsurf to update this. Let's go back on that later. Let's just make sure that the importing still works. And then we'll ask Windsurf to fix that for us. That particular issue. This one. Okay, let's check if the importing still works after the previous changes. Alright, so the importing works. Let's see if the color is pink. There you go. And if we go to our list of repositories, we should have extra repositories here temporarily. Yeah, so this is the old one. Let me go back here and yes, delete it for us. Is that going to be deleted? There we go. Then let me close this and then let's do another test. This time we're going to import from the main branch itself. So let me go to the projects. Let me click on import here. Yes. Then I will select the main branch this time. So we should have the blue version this time. This is taking some time naturally because Bolt doesn't support importing Git repository or private Git repository. So we're just using a workaround here to create a temporary public repository so that Bolt will be able to import it. So this is private right now, while the temporary repository is being created. But when it's time to import to bolt.new, Bolt to GitHub will change this to public, allowing Bolt to import it properly. Then after a few seconds, around 30 seconds, Bolt to GitHub will remove it automatically from here. So now it's importing the repository. We should expect the header to be blue this time because we imported from the main branch. There you go. We now have a branch selector for the main branch and any branch that we want as long as it exists. Okay, so now we're going to ask Windsurf to update this issue for us. Good, it works. But when you updated the repo settings, another component that uses it, the project status, needs to be updated as well. Please update it accordingly. Okay, so this is the second to the final step. We're going to do something cool after this. Let's see. It uses the show now and it removed the on save and on cancel as well as this one. But this is not quite correct. Windsurf is fixing that portion now. We only need to test this part, which is when clicking on the repo settings in the project status, it should open the repo settings modal. We should give it a try now. Yep, nice. Let's see if the changes we do here will update the project status component. Nope, it doesn't. And it does not change in other places as well. Like human programmers, AI tools have tendencies to break other parts of the code when implementing something new or fixing bugs. So if we're not careful, this will trap us forever. Let's see if there's an important part here that was replaced. On save, there's no on save. On close. Yeah, this one is the problem. It updated or it changed this implementation. Okay, so let's ask Windsurf to restore it for us. Okay, so this is the problem with AI dev tools. If you don't know what you're doing, it will eventually or almost always remove some working functionality. Oh, I remember that we also need to update the unit test for repository service. So we still have quite a few steps to go. Last settings update. So let me search where it is being used. Last settings. Yep, it's being used by project list, project status. Yeah, so it's very important. Let's try it again. I wonder what it did here. I'm not quite confident what it did. Project settings, GitHub token, GitHub. No need to reload, just need to test it out here. Dev, there you go. Dev, project settings, dev. So the settings is not updated here. It should update that one as well. Repo settings is being used in multiple places also, so let's check that out. Project list, and only for that. How about the settings itself? GitHub settings. Maybe this is not working before. We didn't change that, right? So we don't have... Maybe I just caught a bug that doesn't exist before. Okay, let's fix this issue using Windsurf while we're here. Let me stage all these changes. The good thing is that Windsurf now has an updated pricing so that all of this doesn't cost anything anymore. So tool calls no longer cost credits. Thank you very much. That makes sense? You can notice here that Windsurf is starting to act up. We have been using it for some time now. Maybe this time this will work. Let me just move ahead and do a build while it's doing its thing. Yep, there's no more. Okay, there's another one here. TypeScript error still persisting. Where? I don't see anything. Okay, it did some restructuring. Let's trust what it did and then rebuild again. Good, let's see. I will change this to dev3. Save the settings. It updated here, it also updated here, and it also updated there. Very nice. And if I close it, let me click it again. Dev3, dev3, dev3. No critical errors in the console logs related to our changes. So we're good. So now let me commit all of these changes first. but I'm going to ask Windsurf to add the test for us. Update the iRepository service test to include the new list branches method and update the create temporary public repo test. Alright, so hopefully this is the last one. And if we run a test right now, we'd run the CI without a coverage. Everything works because the test hasn't been updated yet, so we need to maintain the test as well. I didn't take a closer look at the actual test itself, if the tests are actually valid. Maybe I can do that while it's doing its thing here. Let me just click on the... Okay, let's go to the repository test. Okay, I think it's okay. I won't be showing all the checks that I would do for this test or for all of these tests because we can also ask Windsurf to do it for us if we need to in a separate video or separate time. Now I'm going to ask Windsurf to finally close the issue. Create a new comment for issue number 34, then close it. Alright. That's it. I asked it to create a new comment. Hopefully it will add that comment and then close it. Okay, I'll create a comment for issue number 34. Alright, okay. So the output, it did retrieve the details again because of the length of the chat history so far. It's too long now. So now it's comment summarizing the work completed. That's good. Okay, now I close. So it did add an issue comment and then it closes it. Let's see if it really closed it. Nice. It's closed now and we had this issue comment. API enhancements, UI implementation, background processing, state management, testing. Okay. And that wraps up our video for today. I will now use Cursor again to generate the commit message for the changes that we made and then push it to GitHub. I really love how Cursor generates commit messages. I just hope that Cursor also updates their pricing. So right now, I'm not subscribed to Cursor anymore. I'm just using it to generate commit messages. I'm using it from time to time. We just use the premium request that I have, 50, and then I'm just simply using Windsurf for now. But I'm not closing my door to Cursor. I know it's a great product, and I'm sure it will keep up with the competition. So, alright. Now, we have completed our implementation of issue number 34 here. The implementation of branch selection with importing Git repositories. As we can see here, let me show it again to you. Okay, so if I click on import, it will allow me to select which branch to import. In this case, there's only one branch. But for this one, the repo that we've been testing out, we have two branches. We can create more branches here by pushing to GitHub. For example, this one, we already have it on GitHub. For Bolt, for this one, we can create more branches for that. So if I click on this import, we should have dev and main. And we can have a dev too, and then push it to GitHub. And then we can import it back to GitHub, selecting that particular dev or that particular branch. I hope it helps. So we covered a lot, specifically the testing, the unit testing, the refactoring, the use of GitHub Copilot initially. We ended up using Windsurf in the end. And we have made a lot of progress with unit testing. We laid out the foundation for unit testing for this particular project. So from now on, for the next issues that I'm going to tackle, I will be able to use unit testing and refactor the code base properly. And in the end, ultimately, the result is a solid product that will stand the test of time, even if if we add new features or update any changes, we are confident that we are not breaking other parts of the code because we have unit tests covering it for us. It's like a safety net. I will discuss more about unit testing in a later video, but for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Happy coding!